and no yet Ghana International Petroleum Conference. Edia.
Kwame, send your nimno. I found was a minimum year 1 year. Yeah, I heard from the downstream test. Who say, oh, ye go advert.
Panama go advert and pay.
Na Yakofa found one a bar. Or my demo motono. A form honor the enemy downstream. No, after say, it be a GMPC in Italo, my refining at tour. A refineries and so I refining a mere distributor.
Into GMPC in Italo, no upstream.
Upstream, there's a throw of one.
Come to think of it, sir, conference here, and no, upstream, downstream, middle stream, no stream,
Ushemupa, a midstream, no, I downstream, no. Our refineries, how I see store, a best store, fango, no. Any ye distribution logistics in near me woman, any near ma, emra, see a shed to 200. Abema, a jumedino. Akoso na akoso ne kwantini nimu na ohwe adwumakuo bia ohwe in academia ne many banking or financial institutions omo akwa afeno kwa ehyiamu no omo hia na omo adwendwene omo ho na omo afre atitiru ne animdiefo so a omo aye bia research and answer niema bi no omo so aba abehye omo adwen na yetena ase for some years now na say yes so ye downstream hai ye di petroleum jo ya che enti say yesusu yetimi ehwe kekan ho bom na yetimi sua enema efri ye mfefo a ewo Africa ene amanone niema a omo ye na kwanya ben ye betimi anya chese yankofo asusu betimi atena krom ha ye nya saa enimde ne akwankyere no ane ye se ne ye beye saa gipcon na ye afi enhia mudi a yebe frɛ yebetu yensa frɛ afoforo efri amanhoro so ama omaba na afi susu nimdiefo susu ewo krom hanom susu yetimi ahwɛ ne nyina yaka aboma che adwene ne ehu kwan a yebefa so a yesusu ye downstream petroleum sensem no say ye mrasem say ye environment sem say ye den ne nyina so betimi akonkan
we na tosunsia yeah, Gipcon, Ghana ha. Now we see theme near the petroleum downstream, building a future for growth, efficiency, and sustainability. Yeah, in Rebecca say about ting. Ne krakra ni say.
Ne krakra nyina ni say. Obia wo ye utu anamo a say obon kompon hwe say. Ehemfa na opese abrabo na obo no oboko. Enti ye ka bibiti say sustainability. Ene ho abehia say amanfo kana yi vehicles ne then we say fango no ne ade kra amanfo ja to ne ade nyina ese etimi sha ase adwendwen sa ne man hu na oman ye hu kwan a ye so ye betimi agina simpia ye so ye betimi agina so ne ahwe ede abu nkonta ahwe se ene ma ye ya nhwe ya adache ye ya no aduane beboy ana se ese so emre dan ese ye dan ho bi enti ye ka sustainability efficiency ni niema ye bobo so abeka se brofitintin ya hwe hu ye niema ni bi wo so a o ma e bi a enkonkan enti ese ye hwe niema suahunufo nimdiefo mu ahunu so ba abeche ebehwe adwene ema ye nyina ye di sa nkomo no na true sankita hu die na ye beye no yetimi esi ginamu pobia ye befa so na se ye mra anase ye nhyehyeye anase yesu ene ban bi a ye da na di mre a ye wo mu a enko ya through such conference na the dialogue ane enkomodidi na ye benya no I think ebe man ya akonya me suahunu bebre na yetimi susu de aboye bra na yetimi afo yentuma pa efe
Gipcon da ben ye no
nyame ntade ekina nyame adoma na ye hyase
ekina
ya advert ni bebre huogu na me sure say wa so waka ho asem
ya titibi
ya mo titibi aka ho asem anti ekina nyame adoma Marriott Hotel ana
Marriott airport ya why never
titiru bebre never ohwe ni odi kan His Excellency Vice President
Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia
Energy Minister afi so hwe Sitak Gary and then also Vitor penning for Vitor BP Glencore omum penning for no dodo na beba na other executive assistant executives him say Era Mustafa, who is the president of African Refineries Association, among executives and other prominent African industry experts ebeba na omunyina so ababe kan ho
empanyifo yi beba bebrebe eden ne obi beka enkomoti triu pa yibewie no yebeka se o ya yenhyiemu yakasa adwenkyiraba ne ne kekeka ho. What will be the takeaways?
The key takeaways yebehu se akwan a yefa so eden ayeminu mienu ene atifo ndodo na ehia kwan a yefa so pricing, fuel pricing, and supply chain management. A kwan ben so na yebetimi improve pricing efficiencies ni ade a ebema wa awoto no se bi wonhu se obi ebu anase obi ebo kro no bi ene ade titiro a eka ho afi so kwan yefa so refining product na storage na infrastructure development na so akwanya soronko ema ankra omudi adwuma foforo bi omopese bi a omopese omudo musika eba be hye nnwuma nimu saa ne emeyi esoso ema okwan ma ohu akwan a obefa so atu anamon ewo enema ayom na emene so no saa de ne ebehia ye product na eba mountains no ba bia ye store no ye senia wonkonkoto bibia ema oka wonama na ejeki saa nkomo edidie nyina abekoso afeso so yaka digitization ye pese ye hwehwem ne ehu ekwan ben so pa na saa digitization eso betima aboa ama ye adwumadie no so atimi afa no tuma pefra afeso so ye environment ne ade minse mre bi na ubohu deura at least ye die ye pese ye di hu nkomo ne ye fa ye tu anamon ekwan ben ne ye befa so a ye di saa adwumadie a ye koso bai ye betimi abo ye environment no ho ban a enye se ubo na spillage aba na bi a ye yi petrol no aba tema depots ni bi no ne bi akobu gupu no mu ama bi emumu abi abewu anase enam pipeline ni mususu na obi akoye hu belebele ama nso atimi akofa gya anase bibi aba saa ne ma nyina ewo nkan eman na titiru kra wo mu ye investment opportunities kwan be na dodo na so a sabi onyame ato om nsem ahyirom se yero akwame wono namfofo no akwan be no betimi so enya akwanya enom so do musika aba abehye petroleum edwa yedie ni mu
obi otie a person ban maybe say inti yawada pe ne yesa gip cornea na
ukwada ne yawada
yo china
ene yawada na ne yedi twa to kraye gala night no ye be na Lisa Hotel ifiada na
inti ochina ene yawada ne ye Marriott ena fiada no Lisa Hotel El Ridge
ene Ridge na this year ne ye boy trimu pose ohwe kwan a petroleum downstream no a developer ye won kofo bi a omutiri mu po ene omani so adehunu ana ama sabio sese Ghana fo ankrankra na yedimu kan pa ohwe BDCC ni OMCC na dodo na sese dodo na ye Ghana fo na ye enti ye say petroleum downstream ye di sa emre tintin almost 20 years within the BDC sector na any other way obi ti say yura His Excellency former President Kufo ono a nani so ade hu ewo pin up ema ankra sutimi eye Ghana fo timi ososo kokofa petroleum buy no
deregulation ne hu
komo obi ti sa na nani so ade hu buy no yentimi hwe enyi na yipamu o hwe yura bi ti say Kwabena Donko
Dr. Kwabena
Donko omunim die a omodi aboa petroleum downstream obi ti say Atifa
first CEO of NPA
any Dr. Keke Sapon to omunyina anim die ne omunyansa ne omo ahofama omodi aboa sector na ba bedru sa amre no ye ntwen ema sabio nyame ntonsa from ansana ya say posthumous awards omotiasi pese no omo ton se de ne ebo omo abaso ne kai se adwuma na omo so mu e ma sese yeso amia benya bibia ye no yentimi nye omo ayipam enti omo te ase ye bedidi ne abo omo tri ne ya hye omo nkran ne ada omo ase so se enam omo so sese Ghana for emma ebe 20,000 a omo ye adwuma downstream no so etimi enya bi ya kane no na more or less ne yese ye mate ni belebele a yedidi abrofo no de fango ne banachi sese Ghanaian companies na dodo na etimi kwadwama so ma bi susu timinya opportunity de petroleum products ni bi ko other countries na sese ankofo yi yetimi bo ma baso na ye hye omo animonyam
eno ye fiada no
numre no
enti ye wi ane nim se ye wi
na se yapon.
All right, friend Dr. Patrick Kokrokoo, or CEO of Seaboard and our Gibcon, Ghana International Petroleum Conference, or China, ye be fiasien, ye di kaino, or China, ene ya wada, ewa Marriott Hotel, one crying haya airport, ne if ya den yumre, ye call Alisa Hotel for gala night, ye be dinner ne awards, and then ye kikeka hunina. Na, dog, bibi hope you are the back home.
Oh, I think say Oma Aduma Boying Asoyasini, okay, Association of Oil Marketing Company, AOMCs, MPA. Now, so I heard Glencore, Vitor, Blue Ocean, Full Trade, Rock Africa, and Jumaku Bibria, oil marketing, say go in or more Macan do an almost sponsorship package, and I'm council. Any Rakwame. Mwa kasaso MPA board of directors ni omu chief executive hufama omaduma aboan NEC board of directors ni ankra the media partners omu so asoya sene ama adwumadi na ba bedrisi na ene wo enen anope wa me sa akwanya yi na se da wase se mo susu mo ba man akwanya ni se den a ye hu akina ene yawada
ifiada ndi ohobed
ifiada ni men obeba ana odu animonyam so aba beta adwumadi ni
ye danyame ase
ni sa atiki kra beba
atik de eba sanyoma wa pepa eba no oil sem industry economics petroleum sector ni adia na ye ka de sre de bonkomwe obi se enya Liverpool kwa na ope na menka ncho se menfro Capello na me friend no kwa beti ase
ma coach pay
yes so what coach pay
ma coach pay
obi say just tell him Capello and he will understand it Dr. Fourier that's it pay
miss me that's me
atiki
you want general
I just say
ya me adumo
na over the siren by asema mi bisa
ke kan be ka bibi be chama ye ba ye no an se na ambe
mi bisa asem
na metimi
me so the siren by
say si minya MP minya minister
na so onye Supreme Court judge
minya obia so more categories
into one for siren number
chama me hu da say servant ana wo made servant yes you or no na obetimi ahwe TV wa ye fiwura no crown timi ahwe TV men TV da
ye bebe no so enche bia
ma teacher man
but obi se me mo sa anwumi ma no enti
Peace FM.
I think
Chairman General.
if you leave me na your case, oh. I no go follow you again. Masrisa. And rank of be a chimia chance chinchinia chemium way too.
By force, by fire.
Eh? And ye chichialo. Just by force, yes, by force, me. I know be sending me from US. Evans Boachi in Iowa, USA. See, Chairman Jeremy to Kwame, I like him. Yo, Martin.
See, this is an era of broken hearts. And a season of broken hearts. I'm sure a lot of people will associate with Zayumwe.
Nana come here, Maje.
Kwame say family Joso.
Oh yeah.
Eye pa Kwame.
What is hiring by? I think so is hiring by.
Yeah, you Chairman.
Me MP me minister bona me you sorry.
That's how they make help. Eh?
No, that's a typical servant.
Eh?
As the servants, they want to live like Arabian kings.
Eh?
So behave. You see, Omukra traffic Kromundi so. Hey. Now what is this? Who took the hell out to
Hey.
Yeah, sometimes, hey. You know.
Well,
What do you say in the UK? Some of the MPs almost train. Joe Biden say not for train from Delaware, Elko DC, Elko Yenjumo. We are not.
Professor Jakum, Yamakwaba.
Ya join.
Now what is hiring by?
No me.
Oh, Prof. Oh yeah, Prof.
Gana ha yen ka ho.
Prof. Oh yeah, whole Prof.
Oh no, there's no prefix like HUN before his name.
Enti me di traffic msa.
Oh, okay.
Me cha na watemase.
Okay.
So assemblymen where?
A bedroom so.
Hey.
A bedroom so. Enche be a bedroom so.
Anyway. Chairman.
Answer because sorry no so no. Nana, open each o.
Imagine so.
You. Ane ja me na masuma mantini ye. Na I think everybody sorry in common. But before that, obviously a friend Daniel Tete, I'll say this article 71 people again. They know how to elevate their welfare above that of the ordinary Ghanaian. Why should they be given road traffic preferential treatment? Let's rise up against it. Why is it that our leaders always don't want sacrifice and set good example for us to follow? But I think also we by one in new opposition or parliament.
Oh, sir, they become unanimous when it borders on their you can say sometimes unreasonable welfare issues. We cry has nothing to do with welfare. We are actually it has nothing to do with welfare. Chairman, we are actually it has nothing to do with welfare. So we care more now. Our society, how does it improve your welfare? Now say we do traffic. In fact, they are actually setting themselves to die. Sebi.
Before we go there,
light more. An oncoming vehicle can collide into yours and Sebi.
Na one who near cross so ewo made no so no social media hon. Say o say opinion na kire me.
Kwame ya wara da no.
Yeah.
Na say me ka kire o say nia uye.
Assemble.
Say opinion je kum kire na adwe no say free SHS as we know it today.
Yeah.
Ayenanado Dankwe Kufado ne de ba nye John Mahama. Inti onye ni says argument kwa yen start cry.
Sayampa.
Bizarre.
Enyampa.
Sana opanyin kai eni nyina agitu.
Business o pia bontis say no unya nipa bedu na obisa obise. Why na dey free?
Enti wana no so mompene na.
Oh, and wow here.
But Kwame.
No, me nyame.
Said there say now kind nya no kware.
Debut. Nana. Anya say omobe e ka asem na o kan no.
The den.
I just said you the superior argument in ebo.
Na den.
You do at them.
Keke.
Oh,
o say ndenya. Because say na me kan na mo say enye no kware.
There be eno no ye dey ato nchen.
Na when na mo say mo ye professor mo ye research into mu hu.
Na Kwame Sifa.
Yes,
say John Mahama.
Ya brokro.
No me da no kware no so e bata nipa. Say John Mahama.
Yeah.
So pe bibia kaso no de buy ya. Na enye free SHS. Because
also no chassis.
O shede ase.
Progressively free.
And like I said, me dear no, progressive.
But no patch say no oyen shisha kopim time be.
Progressive na see any sen kwa.
Just say yen kakra akoye
nim.
nim.
What say me amiti me progressive free.
Sir.
Yeah.
GSDS time.
Me scholarship.
Okay.
Scholarship progressive free. Universal free. I no bia. Engineer or modern bohu. Free. And no free SHS. In this scholarships no and na wo to aswa can sa na ada you come when a free education by pay free enough.
Yeah,
progressive. Or the my no may free enough. Progressive share say yeah no kakra
akoye
progressive. Come commercial here with the north.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's south to know. Obama den kakra no anya CMB scholarship. Just say no so e back kakra. And I'm Mahama so say odun so share mukina. Or say odun be my day students. But the enfa e ho hwehwe no so the buy one. But ne dey no see day students or be mo bia scholarship. Say no timi here na went to another discussion. But universal I say near the man nothingness no. Ye dey ma Ghana for nyia and near friend free SHS. And no dey debate wo. Debate in
I know penye de kunko kan oji na so.
Na u refi say you represent Mama catch in 2016. And I'm the chatto. 2016. Say on fat free SHSM back on the aids of some whimsical politicians. So kai sakasa. 2016. It will say you will not introduce free SHS on the backs of some whimsical politician. Now they also they about 2014. Now they have 26 to me favor. It's your own jai. But I'm pay bibi fofo.
Media policy bia one objective. Enti omunyina look whether Nkrumah even Kufuor did his part. Access to education is the main rationale behind all of these policies. But how are we implementing and the difference ewum. Ye nyina yitum say the policy free SHS. The policy label free SHS.
I know penye kunko kai e but
and last week but the issue is
I think
Mama did his version
to
increase accessibility.
Na mwade na aso no. Mwade no. Mo bibi no so no. Yes say let it be current say Napo has resigned as running mate.
That ben no why.
When has a date to one.
Because then
July 15 and then that been 16 January. Fifi Waffle.
Kwame.
Martin.
Major chairman.
Now when resignation no.
A resignation. Me move fake news na circulating.
I patch man so kakra. What say?
Me say me fake news na circulating that resignation.
When who fake news, when who resignation.
That's right.
Mikura mean some crate be resignation as running mate. I say Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe na actually say wejai.
In fact, anyone na jo na yes. Now on social media no we also let people know on social media say the biasa is in fact everyone dana that by Dr. Matthew Poku Prempe echo Eastern region Kokrokoo corner of Manya Krobo. Any could think it only in Adam for the Juma Yashan as running base of the MPP. Luffy or call Yellow Krobo, Kushia party, and full be the more elbow. Our Baby Green and Anapia Menoka say, all parliaments are who share the majority caucus of the MPP. Of course, we have social media, there's a lot of news to course or the Arcade on one day. We are there, you're back to the and you know, credit. PSN na I did to my doctor about me and the so on as running me the man, the New Patriotic Party presidential ticket. Ogusa Oye said, Juman Pepe.
Oh, ain't you resign?
Oh, there be that. Wait, yeah, Kwame, you need to be over Bemana resign. Say, yeah, and Munyamsha, Dr. Baumiani, and PPDA, Ashano. Big guys are in Munyamsha and Yakubu.
You, and you interest way. Say, on resign here, dear. But, and then I'm saying, yes, or the Jumana to.
Mr. Dear, you need to Dr. Frempe Iron is a Quaka Chairman Penny. Say, a Juma or the man as energy minister. He's saying, as soon as you fry a dear man, into your percent or dinner dad, you know, one thing. In the meaning, so now for board Dr. Baumiaman and this radio. A bim. Rather, the Juma as education minister, the Juma as energy minister, and all the other. The important the Juma to as energy minister. So, about the same like I say, start cooling a video of this. This was unfortunately said now, social media, no, your money may be see it because also. But a year no credit the other, and indeed, as soon as any acquaintance from Kwao to best level as a running meeting. And all you
okay. 50 minutes and paying.
That's what I was going.
Now, Ukra Siren, dear. Yeah, that's an pay Fifi Boafo, spokesperson for Dr. Matthew Kokrokoo. 24 minutes at the top of the hour. Peace 104.3. I think now can be about policy. Me and one if me call back to me sirens.
Yes, let me say, look, policy be our objective. We share free SHS policy as brought by Nanadwi. The idea is to increase accessibility to secondary education. Mahama policy, so the objective was to increase accessibility to secondary education.
Okay.
What varies? Any the degree and intensity of you can say what you do no to cover and to ensure accessibility no. If when you say Nkrumah did his bit, but it was not entirely free secondary education in the north. It was subvention. Secondary education was heavily subvented. In fact, when he was presenting the 7-year development plan, what he said in that speech, he said, by the time you can say, SAR policy, would have been fully, the plan would have been fully implemented, by 1972, and these were his words, Ghana would have, begun enjoying free secondary education. Until as far back as the 60s, Nkrumah envisioned, say, Ghana, Kwalabia, Obenya, secondary education. But what shall see from a point, Eka said, look, Northerners, because of the educational gap, 101 years now, between the south and the north.
At least it's been bridged.
We are getting there.
Yeah.
And some of these policies are actually very instrumental in that process. Until now, you were doing it piecemeal. Yanjin say, access to secondary education, no. Now you're piecemeal. Mahama Baye, no, even Kufuor did his bit. Even Metro Mass and Kola Frudico School, they are all part of enhancing access to secondary education.
But about free SHS,
by free SHS, universal free secondary education, whereby you don't pay for cost of secondary education. End
of story. And let me move on. Let me move on. And then Unipa Osei Kofi Akwa, former National Youth Organizer CPP, says, Chairman General, are you talking earlier about the sirens? They also want unlimited speed, irrespective of where or when. Greetings to your panel, especially Atik, my comrade, in whom I am delighted. Now let's move on to the issue, particularly this one. Metese Uriah friend Andy Apia Kubi Edibetu justifying into Muhia. Now Minya penny back and Anakumia down for pie friend Ato Williams. Ato says the day after we wake up to various discussions on our radios and televisions and social media, Ghana is very noisy. In the sense as some of the issues that grab our attention seem very mundane. And he goes on and on and says, the discussion is not on traffic as a hindrance to productivity and a solution to resolve it. Rather, it is about how the select few can get from point A to point B without hindrance by using sirens and flashing lights. How about we mere mortals? He goes on and on and on and on. I'll urge our legislature to show more empathy and have a pulse on our country's sentiments. Power and comfort have a way of warping reality, insulating you from the realities, and goes on and on. I pray that this law will be shelved with alacrity for the good of us all. At Williams, and a day and no a two job.
Chairman, should be shelved. The NHS said there's a possibility of reintroducing it someday.
They be shelved it with alacrity. Just
It should be discarded forever.
Anyway, Atik,
Chairman,
what do you make of it? Maybe I know so.
me that's it. This is yet another reflection of how increasingly, Chairman, your opinion are losing sight of your foremost responsibility is to serve your constituents and by extension Ghana for. And service yet you are saying, look, when you are made a leader, you are made a servant. When they be a say we will serve the country, we will serve our nation. Service no yet you are saying. Now you want to live like the sultans of Brunei in this country. You want to live like Sabi. Mudie mu class unku any ya kano. Your class unku. And that is not how this should be. Because say you see mu start using sirens, which means that you have no respect for there's no respect, but there's no regard for other road users. Mubana there is traffic, mudie mubeso mudie, so biama kwan, yes so siren dia. We are so conchain na siren no abesinako. And that is not how you serve, your people. Look, elsewhere, ministers, any MPs, omudi traffic regulations so kama obia traffic chiwa na cho opeso ko be bintema sorry intem just like everybody else does.
But amendments no they are called to right now at the parliament.
I know.
Now almost say head of state, president, vice president, speaker of parliament, chief justice, ministers of state, justices of the Supreme Court, and members of parliament. And then I must say,
can you imagine the chaos?
276 MPs.
Add the ministers.
Plus ministers who are not MPs.
Deputies can
plus Supreme Court judges.
Minister. Deputy ministers who can be. Chairman, we are running into thousands of people like killing us with noise in this country, causing chaos on our roads. Because ministers, deputy ministers, MPs, Supreme Court judges, the other 4 gentlemen, Chairman, you can't imagine the chaos. And I say, to what end? At the end, but what has happened? That would occasion our amendment. At the end, they see Rebecca say, wait, dear, because of the NNT, a ben here say, be sadi. Me won't hear see all of a sudden. You see MPs and you see sirens or Montra traffic light. Chairman, what kind of chaotic country are we trying to build? Say a sort red crana or no bit me up. Imagine say Sabi Obi but Obi the ass or green. Ooh, MP na Oban would an ass or red. But you see who finds a bit me up red.
According to Andy Apia Kubi or say it will enhance productivity, ensure timely arrival of parliamentary meetings. Considering the heavy traffic, or say some MPs, ministers of state, and judges have been arrested for trying to meet their schedules. Or say the exemption would only be necessary during congested periods. I think reasons living here.
Chairman,
because
MP and now minister Abo Keles will control chinenti. See, they want to legalize Keles Bono. That's precisely what this is about. Say yen legalize or Keles Bono. Chairman, if you have a parliamentary meeting, you are required to be there at some point in time. Chairman, what stops you from waking up early? And because MPs, you see, the fact that the MPs and ministers were arrested, nobody is above the law. Chairman, this is what we call constitutional chaos. You want to legalize this chaos. Say, because we are MPT, or not dear, if I say, obebu traffic regulations, so because omu ye and you can say mrano omu DNT, we want to now legalize the kind of misbehavior they were exhibiting on the roads. Me dream one in Tiasia.
Ebia so when you MP da on your minister da nana kumia na evidence ebia no Tiasia.
Chairman me ba fitting kuma this bezin. I will say our parliament has been unproductive and our MPs have not been productive because they have not been allowed to use sirens and crossing traffic lights. Oh, sometimes some of the mu yen money bia Sabi, it does no credit to our intelligence as Ghana for say your justification for wanting sa adine say ya che MPs be more fum traffic regulations and sometimes parliamentary meetings be why esemo contempt. Chama unim say meeting here now if you fear 6.
Obisi, what are they in a hurry to go to parliament for? Is it to go and walk out? To follow Atu forcing to court whilst boycotting parliament? To shout yeah, or to do what?
Chairman, to add to that tempo, you see, when it suits them, they say or when they are attending up on parliament and Nyomasa. Chairman, how many times has the speaker complained about the fact that the chamber is almost always empty? Unless there are major bills and agreements that is voting on a passing. For the most part, the chamber is empty. Until productivity and money okay.
And no BBC saying to Namkrum. Now what is siren, you know? Baku ambulance, Baku MP. One other man quite.
And let's even take this scenario for example, Chairman. Say MP Baku, MP for Nsoko, FEC never. MP for Gamara for Enyes, and MP for Bisu. But now for the emphasis an intersection. Obia would to me say obetra traffic light. Obia so siren. Chairman, can you imagine what is going to happen? And sometimes I say you're paying for no drink with look, if when they were talking about police protection, it made sense because one of theirs was murdered, and there was a reason for it. But siren, you want to just no. This is not something that should have even made it to parliament. I mean, in fact, you shouldn't have, and Eba and Ukraine shouldn't have even laid it. But like you said, almost said there is unanimity. Obianka said, you see, yeah, MPC. Until I told the people are increasingly losing faith in parliament because Nyoma to say we no, you would expect at least a few to even speak against it. And Obi to say and appear Kubi. I mean his Obi I was increasingly beginning to admire because of how outspoken he is and his convictions. BBC Yanka or no would be the first I may expect to say Ketia. But as he's also giving justification, and nobody from minority and from majority is saying say we dear everybody is silent because they all want to feel like Arabian kings in town, and that cannot be. Chairman, Newman be and we yes say, how do you expect young Ghana to see you as a parliament? But Newman you just cited an example. Said to the extent that a whole group can say young parliament because we are solidarizing with one of our own. Obia koyeni nyomana onimra AD. That's a different case. But you would find members of parliament saying, "Yeah, we call parliament because we want to solidarize with him." But idea Ghana ebesha Ghana for buffon. Nobody's speaking to it.
Professor Ransford Jampo says, "I don't understand why some poor people are just not modest." Prime ministers of rich countries ride bicycles to work.
Oh yes.
They show modesty and prevent diabetes and high blood pressure. We want to live above the citizens by asking to be allowed to be kukuti beyond V8. Drive on limitless speed to endanger the lives of the poor. We cannot develop if we keep insulating leaders from the very problems they are to solve. Let them also drive through traffic so they can help solve the traffic situation. Ransford Jampo.
Absolutely, Chairman. If the problems...
KP says, has the establishment become aloof and tone deaf? Tone deaf just to what is going on in the domestic front and in places like Kenya? Of all the issues confronting Ghanaians, is this the most critical one? Self-serving and insensitive. KP and no ebaye.
You couldn't have said it any better.
But Okuku Seku says the Dutch Prime Minister rides a bicycle to his office. In Parliament, Ghana borrows to its office and parliament. Meanwhile, Ghana borrows money from the Dutch government. I rest my case.
This is a case of Obidioka, not Orinam. Now, what do you want to mean? And we be new. Nisika. Look, I don't know why we want to, like Professor Jampo said, we don't want to be modest. We are living above our means. This is a reflection of that kind of attitude, no? Sir, and this attitude of servants wanting to feel bigger than the served, you know. Me dream one in tears here. Look, this one should not even make it past. I said this is the point. They say with no hope of return to parliament. It should not even be considered.
Instead of building roads, clearing pavements, sealing potholes so we can all move freely, see what they are doing. Let's raise money to fix sirens on all trotros and taxis then. Bufusem, that is Danny. But obviously 275 MPs blowing sirens.
Imagine the chaos. Everyone say when they are in session, they are all in Accra.
Yeah.
So imagine the chaos in Accra. Now, Ufa deputy ministers, Bebrekwa, and Akufado, they were you a movie, and you can imagine the number. Ministers issue our money parliament, so they are quite a number. At the end of the week, come in Abumwa. German ambulance would even become one cross ambulance, maybe.
And I'm assuming who ambulance the MP and Abemane crying.
Because they both have rights of road. Because Mranaman coins or best on the side, now a man coin. Ambulance, Mranaman coin. And which one takes precedence?
OBC, how come the labor unions are not protesting against this one?
One fight at a time.
Eric Amponsah says, in my opinion, the LI is not necessary. If you have an appointment, leave home early. Kwame, it will be abused. It will render its intended purpose meaningless. Our MPs will abuse the law. Government must rather improve upon road infrastructure and also a reliable rail network so that vehicular traffic will be reduced. Eric Amponsah, tax expert. But as I said, Atik, onye MP da, and onye minister da. Ain't be an ountiasia. Nana Kumiana wa MP 16 years. Was also I am minister. Nane
Kwame.
Ava.
Kwame. Kwame asamono. A complex kakra. Say Ghana hano. Na ye pese political leaders no. Na ye pese omo big man asem kakra. Unim sa.
A big news.
Yeah, expect to say we a political leader, we a big man, and I a big woman. Inti no say utim ye niema a fata sa description. We a member of parliament akosoka kofa taxi. Kwame.
Nana.
Ebe omu nyang was I na impu ba o ka say. Sani first question be say embarrassing you.
Yeah.
Also, new taxi biaba near Yakanwashi dropping by force. Also, if you are person join the queue to station hoti. Oh yeah, minister now Kokrokoo second class. Kwame. Edbebuja. That is the reality. And now you're MP. Now Ote. Me who small being nim car, but when I say cars, he be a dear
Uber.
And that's all the way MP and I'm not the watch away, one small driver and buy now Pentmark will be not there for Uber. No being who's out to Uber. What would be the reaction of one of our constituents? So, sorry. Now, person try baby din now so munyan coupon. Why now she's best me samba. A baby chonka kotina enim. Because we are MP. We are minister. Ko baby a policeman in the me a minister. Me am a car front. Still am a car because we take car front na who chrome. Who na koso lolly kwanos. Na who chrome na koso. What ya chia who? Uko baby now nim. Omo ba obi wa wagina no car de gina no obi aba be back door obi ante ho what the front just almost expect say we a big man is out na a tree. Now the confunction be now police and car those days me confunction be horse racing that time Accra Polo Club hey
Turf Club and Polo Club.
Turf Club
yeah.
Baby I see
baby a conference center again
now Oma invite you Omo invite me first time man for police and call they were so disappointed.
Oh
yeah. For they were expecting police maybe outrider back. And they told me, say, one for police. This is a true story. It happened to me.
Enti na we kwasam.
Enti anunti no ya kasa as a society no. You expect certain standards. Kwame who say, unya politician, but you fa uba ne ubi who say Kwame Sefati Uber. Even you, you expect to say, who use a fancy car? What do you say? And I'm sure you have a fancy car.
Well, not exactly.
Not exactly fancy.
Well, not exactly fancy, but appreciable. Not exactly fancy, but I appreciate.
It is fancy.
Oh, nyame ni adana say. Hey, Nana, ya bro. Nana,
but that's the point I'm making.
Tama na wada braka okay. Office hono.
Yeah.
Ana ye fa taxi besi sek ne anantia fa chiraba ho adabraka hono. Se fiti time ready besi na de. Nyame ebi ana opanyima menkaza.
Na me can say community because
oh, me that's me
because what brand we do baby I we do. Yes, but you say you have a fancy car. That's the point I'm making. Only expectation, you know, one direction. We are MP, we are minister, we are big man. Opinion about radio is we. I know why a popular chain professor be our Chrome. Huh? Me my dream would wear professor. Opinion no cause of could join trotro Q. Only there be none. Opinion you could only none. They expect to say we are popular, we are you be ya due din.
Our story be cool fear bridge about into my bakukwe. Okay, that's
even Obiti say what penny crown, there's a certain expectation. So inti ya kasano ye pushy ye leaders no to act in a certain
so way. Does it justify in your moyen?
Maybe at the same time no Kwame. Yes, I complaining say leaders see our privileges. Yes, I complaining. The same people. As I king, members of parliament say ministers of state was siren there, almost as so many siren. Enka and shed on your bonnet. So the problem in the same.
No, amendment in the minister so I can originally we were not so part of.
Okay.
The ministers don't come.
Now when the ministers don't come.
Amendment no.
When they are amendment no.
In parliament or
say lie. And yeah lie.
It's the ministry no na edibai.
Ministry na yeah amendment na. Okay. Inti but the general aid in the same. Yeah, sana you expect at the one hand you expect to say we are big man. Political leader, as I say, unya certain privileges be. At the same time, so you're complaining about those same privileges. Wow. Now, Sen American, Minister of State now was Irina. Okay, shed on your bonnet.
Supreme Court judge
and a Supreme Court. But the problem is the same.
Member of Parliament, Deputy Minister of State.
The problem comes to say. Na enipa ne bi nso feel say omo privileges no a ma omo en solve problem no enti Omom V8 as against Ubemom Kaki to Ebi. V8 no tima answer no on Philip pothole. Nti ebe den na we akoka pothole no wasem. O manu siren ya. I just say traffic no en shedanche no. Nti ebe den no akoka traffic no wasem. Wow. Nti privileges no expectation in say it should go hand in hand with solutions. Nti ko parliament amo yen hwehwe sena a traffic beba form. So sena e be ya kwan no more. Na no unya siren, people will not complain much. But wow traffic about dumping. It was Pintex. Na a move. Now do V8 ni hwe ba betwem. Wa po unferry. Obe ferry. Yes, and na akumya na ekon. One cause you feel bad.
Now guys will be able to feel bad.
But point in say parallel road to the Spintex. So I traffic no ekofom. Into crap no kuta siren po you may not even need it because a parallel road to the Spintex road. Kwam so dim sa kwa.
Yeah.
No traffic be any so. Kakra bi a palace interchange na ma problem kakra about here palace interchange na. So say Spintex traffic.
Obeko from kakra.
Because obeko ofa parallel road no so every reg Manuel you can say Teshi road no so kwam unim ho.
Lek ma
befa TB Joshua sorry befa Regimanuel Nima befa Papa Yechiho right up to Palace. There's no traffic. There's 6 lanes. Wow. Enti eno no kra no hu hia posa obe use siren. But the traffic na bo dumping. Na nipa no entimi move. Na o de siren ba betwema. Nipa no befu. NTD, you expect this all a big man. You expect this all be your privileges. But the privileges should go hand in hand with solutions to the problem of the common man. Maybe the privileges don't go hand in hand with the solutions. Until then we say traffic in some way, you police for car back could be break it down. You police for me to now we do siren HM. Cover before.
Many a doctor be sending me a message. Something very interesting. Article here. Or send a colleague back or a car break it down. Nah, I'm for church or cycle. No back walibu. Now I'm for church or cycle. Nah, for some reason, doctor let it front. It's also we do around mosque or no. And I'm bit Gigi Disika. Hello, doctor needs kind of be sure. We'll be a chair with you, Haman. Said I the patient. David, Oba to say the patient to him no. Oba the whole hospital hall. It's already that something. Already that but so no different it will also theatre. It also be try to be a child or than one the patient be or tabano or I see so then we doctors too, we need siren.
Because of course.
Interesting.
Okay, say siren enhance productivity. No. Why not? Okay, say Kwame more you're productive. Kwame more is very productive. Or be a forum for discussion on national issues. One way then say Kwame a program you're shutting it down 2-3 days. I said about what memoir.
Yes, we need siren.
No, but just say in too much manner productive. Too much manner productive. It is all can say a bear has the productivity of MPs. So I approach, I feel I'm uncomfortable because one or no Nejumano and you're productive. So your MPs in Kwanamujuma productive.
That's me. Quite this is say or Mame Kona. Me here siren.
So I be free a bit. But what the requirement is all my siren.
Na me musai me obi.
Oh no, they better not.
But Nana, on a more serious note, iti Sebi, Nyoma a high organa hano. Ye ma she bidwa for near harmony.
And I make say
say at this point in time dede bebre waye memu efa yekotoa ba yisika semu se netie complaints about health issues, complaints about the energy sector. See, I'm say Dumsona answer abrasi kakra. Dumsona am say ye kakra sin kaneno. Enti eko but aye kakra. But nana nyama higher we memu ha say pa. Titru yeti hey IMF for town.
Oh yeah.
Ye be budget mid-year review. Ye dollar CD sikasem enkoye. Say na say stabilize kaka but still a stabilizer at 15 point BBB no. It be 15.65 15.7. These are issues young people when they hear.
Na Kwame.
Nana.
Oh, this is a question now. They are not being fair.
To you?
No,
to them.
To them.
But they being fair to me.
I sure
they want to drive me off the road.
And now me know what I say. There will be MPs talking about issues here. Okay.
Yeah, but this is what has come.
This
is what has come to the front. Banner.
SNIT has semi cry. And your MPs na kofa buy.
MP.
Okuja to abala kwane
is an MP. Yeah, is an MP. And na cry e kase.
Into okuja to oka airline for no.
On council. On council. Into Kwame, there will be MPs, political leaders who or on Babeka about inflation, on Babeka about debt exchange, on Babeka about CD. And time because you haven't been fair to them.
But Nana, but this is what has come onto the front.
They be for them Babet now have cry kasa and semia.
No, like taking action like they are doing now.
Yeah,
but when about
talk about it.
Hey,
okay. They talk about it. The SNIT as MPP but point in the general point. I take the general point to say, the privileges should go hand in hand
with responsibility.
Well, not responsibility, but with solutions to the problems. The problem of VA is traffic. Traffic into the mope siren. What are you doing about traffic? Well, until whilst you are asking for siren, now at the same time you are also looking at some laws and regulations that would improve traffic.
And it
goes hand in hand.
Obisi Enra, only yesterday, Speaker Bagbin closed Parliament because there were only 24 MPs. 24.
Now, so this is the reason why they are giving for.
Who be siren to beat traffic. Now sign Edin share by Bema traffic are improved for the ordinary person. Now ordinary person who should see say mwetimi aye quorum ewa parliament. Say who be siren now you who say parliament or munkwa there will be a disconnect. And a lot of the time, problems are bad with privileges for political leaders. And they say there's a disconnect between privileges and the problems of ordinary people. A little police, for example. Namon share say police numbers be also. Namon share say security for the ordinary person is improved in some way. Mon fancy bia embaye. Nebema security for the ordinary person when who say with them is security bambon economy. Now council police there will be a disconnect, there will be a problem. And for me that is where the issue should be. But otherwise, my conclusion is say, kasa as a people, you expect to say we a big man, as such as a big man.
Inti yes you can
be. Come me a minister one time you took one call international tourism. That's me a deputy minister. Time momde ma ye no na plane na ye de be kono menya business class.
Waka sazen we.
Inti ye nya tena economy ye call. We had a successful exhibition in Berlin. Dubai. Ye buy a review conference. All the practitioners tourism for a will be our money experiences of how are the near beneficial. But I'm conclude. But I can say They mun ene ya say na deputy minister no. We say not economy. Now say if this and then everybody was laughing. That means you obio. Enti Kwame Ebanisa next time will be a deputy minister. On to na economy. Ebi say make so penya jekum miao because of show into what GD wo Ghana henye. O dem openya jekum en koso kwakofa. Trotro. They'll be debating. Some would jitum say openya jekum. Oba hwa na the taxi abani akan wan ship. We openya jekum go oba. Oba trotro. Debbie. One thing yankesa no. On one hand, we expect certain privilege. On the other hand, also no. Now, you can't answer. But yankasa so political leaders no. I see a jitum say, your privileges should go hand in hand with solutions.
Martina Namida say, Sampain from Kumasi or say Chairman General, don't worry, I'll buy you siren. Now what will be? Odishi Ajabeng says, apart from the siren, they use 4x4 vehicles on asphalt roads in Accra and its cities. We, the citizens, have created a situation. This one says, dearest KSK, my respect for Ignatius Bafo Ewua went up even more when I traveled with him in a VIP bus to Sunyai. That's nice. There's no justification for MPs to seek to have privileges. It is humbling to find people who have power being so humble. You don't add your name though. I kind of like that because at least he's connecting with the base. Now, but as the Nakunia says, me ko through VIPCC obi hu. Prof,
come in.
Mama siren.
Kwatukwaso over Mount Martini.
Miami mu.
Cancer. Come in.
Yes, Prof.
Yeah, how ba compa or my man. A pompompe.
A pompompe.
Yes.
And Patroni, they just a home as well.
A home as well, a trasso. The I say, you'd be sharing secretary, and now a pompompe semno abba. Now you just say, Yantis the and I a tier no ansana 2 million by yourself.
Yeah.
It is all sure. And that on minus was some says so ya do ko say dear say na ya hwehwe free hot say na na come ya e ka no Gru Harlem brother me student no way.
Yeah.
My men comfort so mbe hunu na ogina bus stop or trade the next bus.
Prime Minister.
Yes.
But say baby ana ban boka kra e won ho baby anya bigidigi.
Yeah, but ogina o train. Minim me professor be of religion. I mean, finding the crazy. Different pedal. Now, or then the car, saloon car, a be fat, yen, a walk, but be a students here walk. And they are bus, sorry. Now, many madam for back on, you know, or dear start here. None the year come. That is a year 9. I fear for a buy and students, Ghanaian students are not mere methods for a bear for the buy a bear. Na papa no ba mienu o bampre no odi nka be fa first batch no dey kwa sorry down.
What?
Yes. That was our back there to some mienu. E to na bia say o maye hunu students a ye o maye ye ma no hunu students be ba na ohwe no ntimi nko mienu a na be ka ba obama na yire no afa ba se dikai akwa sorry. Now I be fire. They are not a drew baby na enyam said na oye professor of New Testament. Nti Paul woman wa kai e kwan ye fa so eni ni partner yi.
Okay.
Nti that is the practical aspect na oye man na ye ntenase. Na kwame piasam no edos no man mu dodo. Nti wo de adwuma se obi nsape do gise baby a wadru no de onne nkofo ano no mo gro no onka o mo class no na come same tisa me huru de ntia obi o parliament ono the class no e wo sora ase say yen nyina tu kwan a ya fire car no nkonche na ne de no mesene say de enti sa privileges no me vice chancellor ni bi o
Debio
me vice chancellor the official university ni nyina so a provost any deans any hwan nyina hye na se no obedi traffic that is class no MP4 10 me vice chancellor come yan twifo tie me come MP your friend or swafo it comes from the word swa
just
to carry something on your head yeah carry no nyasa odi kura o swa odi si utri so ana your friend ministry ho no asuyeye
to do what
you download it is oh yeah oswafo a na ohwe nwoma sua so a tag for ni nyina eba
you tag
put tag so ahwanum nyina tag for nyina tewunum nyina aka ho omodo omo haw ahodo no nyina eba arrears omo sika entomo a omo pe enwoma sua ho hyehyɛ nyina omo nyina ɛsoa de abrewo ho no mdru ha omo so aha na yesoe omo sue pa kwame de omo hwehwɛ nse esanse wo ye osoafo nti no se wo wutumi ɛsoa ɔhaw na omo de aba ni nyina enti wo ye osomfo ne osoafo o som yen enya ye ne esom wo
omo ho ne so
Yesu Kristo ba o se oba se nyame asoma no se omesom adasan ti nyama bebra na oye no na sene ne botaya o de ba wiase no mokena
but opanyi nana kumia kan bibi se yanka sa nipa no yesu ye ban ene ye ne ene ma ebanesa expectations are your nipa no so no ebi a ye ntete ne ade no big manism no so
Kabe say confuse so your big man young baby why have abrodope no graphic corporation
do abrodope
ne papa kire ma de e wo Fransa
oh I see
yeah English
that's what who
but ne papa do
some do abrodope do like e for na openye jekuba bo papa di an pay you
abrodope master abrodope no say I know what I am. Not what people think I am. Me na minim sania metie. Nya de nkofo susu se metie no. Enti na no de no nkofo so wa Jimmy Kwasia Professor Kwasia am so I know what I am.
Hey, Kwasia be mu.
Oh ni na. Jimmy ni na. Ba ya na nkora no referee say uhuri trapenia. Once anu komu a usi asigire.
You don't learn well. Oh,
aha. Enti se come na oka say yes so obi fa VIP obi fa bi da akokuma se
VIP
oh yes oh timi jije dem
it's very comfortable instead of driving
oh jije dem and ebi kran so ejina bre na yes o free ha koro na ade e kosan ko em
ano ne azem no
enti na omo de bre bi om do bedru bi a om do wedu it come in confo hu se sa na wo pe wo ho a o gina VIP a obi anka se Professor Jekum na gina VIP no was bia wo ho me hoda but ye ho akesesem sa na nkofo hu se oh we sa na ote enti omo hu a no mo se na nyawo na da bia wo kwa o fa say minim nkofo bi o ha only driver obe high car V8 ye kumasi ya obe high V8 na watua driver no kan na watua car no na watofu egum ni ade no de ko yes signing back up pen ho a ye ma no nyesa but ye betra o mem na ya fa de se omo parliament na hye bedwafo no omo ye nipa sonko apartheid regime ana omo ema abrofo na hu se omo no ya abrofo na before no yen nyina kasete ai kase tia se yen tumi nya ɔman baako a nipa kuo baako ɛsɛ eti yɛ bɛyɛ na kyerɛ sɛ beduru baabi yɛ university kyerɛ sɛ asoafoɔ ɛmba nkobi o
David
MP for man kobi nti sɛ legon sɛe a na ɔmo man kobi ɔmbɛda hu sɛ hɔ sɛ ɛne deɛ nana komeyɛ kan sɛ sɛ mo hwehwɛ sɛ nneɛma na ɛnkɔ yie no mo betumi asia no minim yɛn lecturers bi a ɔmte kasoa ɔwɔ 7:30 I think so say classes there 7:30 onim sɛ ɔwɔ first lecture ɔte kasoa
obesim 3
ebinom so sim 3-4 no was sim oba betra de e di ɔmo so yɛ mom sarin ɛna sari ahen ne ɛbɛtɔ dodo sɛ ne ɛbɛtɔ me na me sim ha kɔyɛ part time
Winneba
Cape Coast me first lecture 8:30 by 5:20 na me sim ha ɛna kura de anka me sɔre bɛ 4 yes because I kwan na wɔn yɛ no sometimes na me timi kodu ba me hyɛ me first lecture say 8 to 10 2 hours next batch gyina mpomem 10 to 12 the next batch 12 to 2 bi wi arma sa adrive baba it means so say productivity nke ho hia pa o sa brand na department ni hia me say member boa it is sa na ye fa no de a na ye nyina nim say Ghana ha enema ekoso bebre ekotian say ye nya anu aduro say kwame ye kya ye ho anso ye hunu ba bi e de kora ehye na sa mommoa ye na ye mpe kwan ye be fa so asi niema no bia no na ne hia pa ne say ye mamo saria kwame we dey overgosi wa hanko bakasa dabrak ekura wo se makanso manwe omonsa sebiam prebiasa.
But apart from siren, so per limitless speed, just say America 10.
So unyanya siren the alcohol the ope. The antisabasa na ayi sa imbrana ya says udru ha utimi kosei. Udru ha say okosei. Udru ha ni say okosei. That's as a hu here. Oh na kwame ma mo ko semra no ma sa abetumra na go esa sa moye nipa sonko kwame se
legal chaos
onim se eba se obi nya dwa ne apomposem a ni die nya den kura o o sa wo me ma ho so ade anka nya den o me ma ho so a na wo hwe nipa nkaye no so o me ma ho so no na wo dwene nipa nkae nso se omo so asetena mu etesen
Miniam na sankofa titiatha.
Oh yes.
Or say me producer number 1.
Me producer no.
Aye. Say me no nyina. Not to say GT Railway or UK MD no. And was every time she's on the train.
Yes.
MD no.
And Sashi.
Na
cost effective and you can't look
now only say it be a cultural thing.
No cultural thing.
Make a cultural thing is say only will be a funny guy at Southgate.
Yeah, and yeah, we coach no.
English coach no.
England coach no.
On say when in the second Euro our when in kunim. Or is like
okay, that's it. In the house of
ebi almost buy no.
Maybe come.
Southgate resign or say Marco Anyi mejem.
Almost buy
the house of Obenjamin MP. No, I think it was his secretary, not MP. Or yeah, lady had to brief the house and or yeah late. Merely because he came in late, he resigned.
Mission government. As a private candidate, maybe Albania be na wakai, ufa book be no wakai. The koto baby na American president, all ko Brasheba John na onim say as oya elite in team, almost speedy, almost channel for over speeding. It's some say what book and branoso. And come say ye sua senia or mine ye city a dear back one bit me a ma or may. Yet me a tumpo back on a hombrasia. say nipa be hu say emfa ho say me ye MP emfa ho say me na me ye minister emfa ho say me ye professor emfa ho say me na me ye vice chancellor say ye nyina ti Kristo som ne nkremosom ene ya mambre edia ese ebre ho ase say onim nana otuo sorbo
of course Drabin
yes
chairman of council of state
onim say ne background ye electrical engineer
he's an electrical tech
omode enkanea eko Drabin omo a omo waya no na oka omo hwe so
oh how
as oh yes odo free machine bisa no as oman hene
say na adwuma no
yes
eno onimu
enti say omo tia obetumi agina no aka kire say baby amode ayiwe ebo no emmoa meman yi but then ya obenya nipa no obaba ho no hye coat ofro polo enyeye kwame wadi e besro mo enema e ha ya adwene sese pa no so omo just arena enka ho bi sese enti be se e kurase maka enso menwe ya na e kan say ya twa sai kakra that bi
ye ni ho no
emfie bi e beba
be mfie oha a kire
no na kwan ni nyina ye yi a omo hia sare no kra but kwan ya ye wo fanko yi se tumi ye yi a onam so a bibia be ko ye
Prof Medasi but obi se menka chairman Kokrokoo nti say Gareth Southgate resigned because in England there's no Janto Ahene. Kokrokoo nti I just seen your message, thank you. Have a good one. Hey, Prof, I'll say, oh, what Prof is saying is true. I come from Drabin.
yes
Now, no question na Drabin hini anka say di achiri.
exactly
No omo chika ni anaba.
me to me but
Prof menka say me nwanwa.
be to me but na muan na nka de bibia susu no a enya no kore
Say je onim ba bia wo bi wo.
yes
Into the positive was it
yes.
positive and
but yeah the aduma no man na ne te baby a bon komo susuan ya kwa mi nim komo susuan
yeah say ananu be cheche baby anana komi ani pa cheche no
na komo ya onim komo susuan
Baby, oh.
ha so en komo de onim
Yeah.
onim susuan so susuan nsuo
Yeah. Waves.
no ya sroche
that's what she
susuan gata mu nsuo to a
Na yi.
nsuo na nam gata mu nyina and their friend susuan run away water
It is a flood.
onya
And your flood.
ya flood nsuo to bia nsuo na and na cause erosion no nsuo na nam form no
Okay.
yes san nsuo no ya mfa nware ba ya mfa no aduane
David
ya mfa nhoro ka enti eba e waste
me wan kai insuo so
enso nke nsuo te se de nsuo bi atie enkomo bi wo ho a enkomo susuan
waste
tim twam na nkofo bi gina ho be kwa koye nea wo ye nyina obeba na om se gina ho de be nko a na omuka enkomo nso ni formula
nti ya kana sa na chinchin ko sa real nti they say me siren no na abono na it's quite interesting. Azik
Chairman,
yes ento hotel ni bio ye jai
sanye kan.
wa sumajo
Eni aje so aka ho. Na we dey mamindi kan enda organized labor say.
me too
Chairman, this is the kind of organized labor I want to see in this country. An organized labor that is powerful, that is willing to defend its membership. And Mami Suminda, Miami comrade Okujetu, Mamin Danase, Namin Bonabaso. Say, Chairman, Ankubia, you could have relented at some point. Because now in that form. Oh, na Prof. DEB. He did not and pressure. He was even dead at some point. Now, Brian Beman Dina Okaze or produce we know Beman. I need street talk, not the G5.
say omo nyina omo ko presec nti bia ombe no
Brian Zuko presec.
Brian presec boy
But let me commend him. I mean, it's not easy pursuing numeracy and seeing it through heading, because sometimes the forces that would come after you
Kiss FM.
Obe Jim. Na organized labor so I mean do mas na me bo ma ba so say look they've shown say when it matters they stand to be counted. Na this is the kind of workers and worker unions I like to see unanimity in action. Also for the first time Federation of Labor, the other labor unions TUC mo, they worked in unison. They really were opposed to this, and they fought together on this one. They say SNIT has decided to rescind its decision, but this is time for strategic thinking. Yeah, they need to do some SWOT analysis for each of the hotels. Now, media might be
apparently they have.
But Chairman, Usha, me from where I sit, the biggest challenge facing these hotels, air management. Because Obianti Kancham said the demand for hotels all of a sudden Eswati and now Ghana is becoming the darling country in the sub-region. About holidays, vacation, people from the diaspora, African Americans, and even Abrofankasa, Ghana is a preferred destination for vacation, for investment, and the demand for hotels here is beyond question. And to Obin Timin Kancham say, hotels is here, among foreign fruit, hotels more, the demand for it are community and affect your more revenues and so. It's just about management. Chairman, manager be on one number. Nansu Neketuya is unacceptable. My view and my suggestion, if you wish, to SNIT going forward is that better hotels here. The salaries of these individuals should be indexed to KPIs. The key performance indicators, Ebenezer, look, you should have a revenue target at the end of every month. Banks, banks are profitable. They work with targets. We in the banking space, you can't work without targets. I think it's about time public hotels they should operate with targets. While we are managing, there should be some key indicators. There should be some outcomes. Okay, based on outcome A, B, C, D, a few way there, way there, why are there, we win there, and your pay should depend on that.
Aji,
Chairman.
Me perceive me be controversial kakra ho. But knowing Anakumia, knowing your opinion, mo beti mase. And then we can have a conversation. Hotels na nkasano. A monoma. Okay? Apart from maybe a Labadi. Obiani say me Labadi my personal favorite. Me anya na me say eba Labadi there me very biased about Labadi Beach Hotel. I love Labadi Beach Hotel. Me pay almost service people whatever it is. Enti apart from Labadi ya jatum say eya ade. Ba numpo no aka kakra but at least o machre kwan. Nya aka ni nyina no sebe emfa hwema. Na SNIT na me no sika dachi sika no. You the electricity, you the nsuo, you the maintenance, you the workers. It's like pouring water on a stone in the hope it will grow. But almost say emfa. Ebiso aka say SNIT ankasa no. O business in your hotel ejuma. Mo de ane se magiji sika no. Mo pay investment yet it says kanishima dachi bino ebenya good returns. Into so much na sadi nim koyi na so mutwa mo ho afiri mu a. Where did they go wrong? In kitahudie na nkoyi. Ana se esane se Brian Achampo nti na aba ne sa no. Say yese SNIT yajatum. What happens to the hotels? Okay. That's the conversation I mean. Because Omam Yehu say hotels no more number.
Yeah.
Okay, yejai. Inti say no ne krakra ne say what's the way forward?
Okay, I agree, Chairman. And this is the kind of conversation we should be having.
Yeah.
Now, what next? Media, like I said, they ought to have done some analysis, and I'm sure they have. Now, see, if there's a difference between an entity is not profitable and is unprofitable. Difference is there's no way it will ever be profitable. Maybe temporarily, because of maybe management issues and maybe lack of investment in the entity and to me sikamba. But if you deal with these constraints, profitable. In the case of, let's talk about La Palm, for example. It has the potential to be profitable.
How?
And Americano. Are we saying that from the get-go, since you see La Palm, it has never been profitable?
No.
That's not the case.
No, it's not me.
Since you see La Palm.
Yes, we check your books, sir. They've never paid dividend.
Since you see La Palm.
Yeah.
Hey. That's strange.
Entina maybe an American be controversial, but
no, I mean,
say yeah. Chobo ni wia. Now you back to the issues are. Ade number.
Chairman,
what is the solution? I didn't come I was say you started the FA.
So if you have an entity that has never been profitable, Chairman, you need to ask yourself, what is profit? Profit is when you take your total cost from your total revenue. Now, a cost, we are paying more than we should be doing.
But where you my fusika?
No, me, Chairman, no.
I am for that change sika and the ideas are no.
Chairman, me ba. It dovetails into this argument. Say, SNIT has no business investing in tourism and in hospitality. Chairman, the SNIT is supposed to invest wherever they think there would be returns. It could be hospitality.
Say, baby, omudis can question. I didn't fast forward.
And found baby, omudis can be share. Some are saying they should always do portfolio investments. Cost stock markets. Also, sometimes it can tumble and you be in crisis. And yet, the beyond a home kwana, and SNIT beyond returns, so work creating human mangrove. So they need to invest in some of these areas and necessarily portfolio investments. And to hospitality, in my view, if it is profitable, why not? But if an entity is not profitable, meanwhile others in that same industry are making profit, the question you need to ask yourself, and the simple thing is that it is either your sales, which eventually would reflect in your revenues, conform. A man for patronize La Palm. And the La Palm, I know, patronage in the past used to be very high.
Something went wrong then.
Yes. So if your sales and your problem, which means your revenues are not a problem, then it means that the cost is the problem. And they say, is it that we have employed more than we should? And our salaries are yet to change, the average market salaries are others in the industry. My information is in some of these hotels, you see Sika MDs, edgy, any other workers.
But at this point, they are Tisamo.
No, Chairman, but you cannot tell me, they are not making profit because of sales. No, they were having patronage. Now, man for coho. So, as for revenues, I don't think they were not making, they were not selling. Wow.
Adi, it looks like they are not selling.
La Palm.
Not just La Palm.
No, I'm using La Palm as an example.
And says SNIT and Casano. Says SNIT and Casano, almost 60%.
Yeah, but when you sell majority shares, you no longer know
yeah, because I didn't fat.
And American. So if I didn't fat, and you feel say I did wait there, why don't you just divest all your turning in idea?
I don't need to go
but because there's I'm looking at the facts that there are prospects. And look, even when Dumso in the past, now hoteliers, Chairman, some survived and went back to making. They recovered and went back to making.
Hey, but they be prior.
And I see they recovered.
I don't have their permission. Can both hotels me no
Baku or Ridge. I know.
But member area Baku or Ridge.
I know.
Na Baku bentete kwashi ho.
Yes.
Nkomu.
Chairman, I know, but I'm saying even so, I did not shrunk, but they even they recovered, and I'm sure they are making profit now. But when from the get go, profit there, then there is something fundamentally wrong, and that is what we should be looking for. Once we change it, I'm sure they will go back to Labadi before. Almost they were running losses.
But Labadi generally seem to have a certain image be a
Thank
bomb.
you, Chairman. You are giving you are prescribing some of the solutions. So maybe the image of La Palm, they need a lot of PR work. Until there are I always say when there's a problem, diagnose it well, then you can get the solution. So long as it is not an industry ukomua uboka ebimu are surviving, then means even the image of La Palm, Chairman, it needs branding. That is one.
I think UTS SNIT for now and your branding is investing
so branding cry is
yes, and I say did in what
Chairman, we can brainstorm and come up with ideas.
But who is the we? But we don't call the
and
shots.
organized labor is also saying Omo Ankasa Krabeti committee. Now Omo brainstorming, then they will go and engage SNIT on the way forward. And for me, now,
which is good. But in the meantime,
Chairman, in the meantime, even sales are
the bills are piling up.
No, even the takeover would not just be immediate. Anka, it would take time.
Now, say Brian Champon Krano says SNIT say a payment plan or the Banomumpio.
Aha.
Intinanya Dian Commode man is
as for bills, they would have continued to be paying anyway.
Meanwhile, I know your pension, your workers' pension, your pension for the pension, go for pension, you did
I know.
Anyway, I'll go around.
Slept on the job for far too long. Because, Chairman, if you identify certain concerns with some of your investments, and they should have engaged organized labor.
Talking about organized labor, do you think, sir, Brian Champon County did anybody more?
To some extent, I would say yes. But Chairman, he's politically exposed.
Oh, of course.
And Obio politically exposed. Our public investments, and this idea is, Rock City has legal personality different from me,
Brian dear.
Yeah, Brian dear. Wow. And do not say you are not directly, SNIT does not fall directly under your ministry. I friend influence I
think my final question to you, if me Uriana mean company you couldn't nanaso. Okay, say engage organized labor.
Yeah.
SNIT Board of Trustees. Me trauma ne what also. So I say they didn't buy and I refinio maybe. But SNIT Board of Trustees just say one Mrakwan so I'm no head SNIT so no. Organized labor were 4 representatives. And Employers Association were 2. Pensioners Association were 1.
7.
Intino already no 7 because technically you bet me I can say Pensioners Association, Employers Association omo can labor home meboa. They are not organized labor per se.
Yeah.
But what the affair is organized labor and can nipa 4. Yeah. Also.
No pensioners come one.
Yeah, pensioners that makes it 5. Yeah, Employers Association 2. That makes it 7. You're one person from the Ministry of Finance. You're Baku from Security Services. You're Director General.
Government President's appointment.
Yes, and you're chairperson. Inti, sa employers organize for 2018.
Chairman, and I am happy.
I think we need to go.
Representatives, they are calling for their head saying you are free. But beyond that, I think, quite frankly, if the board says here the cupboard now, representation, let's not segment the representation. Say organize the board as a collective affiliate.
Do you know why I'm segmenting? No. I'm the source me segmenting. But you need to me
because
me share that say enya samolo kuja to a black wa. It's organized labor saying they didn't know about this.
I think so.
How?
Because representatives, according to the earlier reports, I said they are sworn to secrecy in this annual. Meanwhile, you are supposed to be representing them. They were not giving them information. Until almost they are demanding the heads of their representatives. And by extension, the entire board. And I support that. Okay. Because if the body as a whole, you acted in a way, but I don't think, the board and even management should continue to be at fault. But Chairman, when I have information of other investments that SNIT has divested. At the end of the day, I'm going. And sometimes they invest in buildings. chairman who the only move friends Emporium and Emporium.
Emporium.
Ukwa, a lot of the floors are empty. And that is revenue gone. That is revenue lost. Our used to occupy one of the floors. Our is no longer there because they increased their rates. Our felt they were prohibitive compared to other buildings that are around. Chairman, me between 1 and 0, I always go for 1. One, whether 1 no compared to 5, between 1 and 0, 1 is always better. And if your rates, you see, they are prohibitive.
Just say Osrodo.
Utisu kakra and then get occupancy between and say obeja building no issue hosana. Which one is better?
Look, you are no more to be a benefit.
Some of the management decisions, you know, actually be a hard one. And my view is chairman, a sensitive agency like SNIT, the heads and our management of side, the head, you can say top management, you know, should not be left to the discretion of politicians.
That's what it's been.
President Biaba, no way you way, not the way Aba. Look, so Nipano, you are. You feel responsible to the president and to the party more than to the contributors. Because when him say, one year a month for a or Chinebinu, you know, Omudi or Bifufraba. So you succumb to the whims of the political class and the politicians. And me, I think that is the beginning of the problem. Nyomani bi owa ye tonton ye si flash ni bia obehua na sebi chairman. Ya tonton no fufufu de ama politicians bi. Won because one ton oh okay. Edru so no de obekire and say we a technocrat who de. At the end of the day, the person would have to succumb. Or succumb be crown at the end of the day, yet me fire no. Director General, how many months to election? Say you need me boy. Until there is no security, at any point in time, you can be fired. Until a man who take decisions now, instead of being mindful of contributors, you know, you are more worried about the political class and your appointers. And that for me is one of the problems we need to fix as SNIT.
Okay, I'll go to Openye Jekum, but answer na mekono, where the MFN is na minim nyoma bi kakra, sa woko, Elmina Beach Resort.
Yes, yeah, what the
yes, I'm telling you for a fact, it's in a terrible state. Bakubi Trust Lodge, now Takradin, Bobo, Busuya, forget. Na,
you just sit for this
na,
to reach this
me bisa, obi, unim same, eja, unimanu bisa. And or chairman, or say, Kwame, as you know, I tell you for a fact, apart from Labadi Beach Hotel, and maybe Ridge Royal in Cape Coast, all the other SNIT hotels are in a very poor state. They've been placed on countless re-inspection. Just the reason why they say, Yabani BBS and Yamunye Nibu, Niakwabasa, facilities are deteriorating. The services are bad. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Nipan mini dear friend. Sanity. This one says, Kwame, how profitable is Busia Beach? Well, it's not. You will travel there for nothing. Trust me. I mean,
Kwame,
Brem,
me bomb no muya.
Mpacho mi Judy.
Sir, they no abisi. Ama ye hu se ya ntan ya nyanto. Kwame de wo mu ne se. Wiase nyina enkan ye men. Obi nton na kokobe de kwa.
Yeah.
Kwame nim.
Akoko be the nearly the proverbial the hen that lays the golden egg.
Ohun so obi ton na kokobe de a onim sa anya hwe obetum kosu ama no. Obehwa ne mama no a. That is a bibi wo. Na lenu otete mo a dodo na eye politician na ne ho gi mu no eno ka ho. Yentumi ngi num free.
Yeah.
But na misro ne se say ya minister na free the company na free.
Yeah.
Ayem fa na yeko.
What next?
Yen hwe amade no na honche. Is that say da ho a che nyina yen ko ho se ye adwuma no.
Na
so sika na ye hwere. Na de no so etete apro. Mempe ba bi a Kwame SNIT ejapade. Ye baba be gina ba bi ne ko sa you hunu ya nke eton
nzuna elite
company chekura nya ho adro
Openyi se hwan nya wedro.
Konfanoche. I'm the konfanoche no say as well for
Okoju wedro aba.
Na oba mo bia nso. Nti oba ya akoja ba obedru kotia no te se oba bi nso no so osako.
Osako.
Se na onim se omu besua. Se nka. Anka na ho ono kra wa nya no adru. Nti brebi dru na ya says ene hu ya enka also afwe ne company say ya ma omo toy kra na nka ye. Eni se ekodru ho. Ese ye yen konya bi tre se ade no eyese ya ma also afwo na anto.
Chairman, lawyer BDB by maybe just for our collective education, or see the law focuses more on exemption on speed limit instead of sirens, no. But I think sirens no come with that anyway.
Oh, okay.
He's raised a very legitimate concern, sir. Instead of attacking, well, not attacking, like saying say MPs in this animal. Why don't we focus some time our attention on the Minister of Transport? No, they didn't go down in Parliament. I think it's very important. Dear Neba, what information? Because airline is the minister who lays it. What is the rationale? Dear Neba, yeah, all this didn't go down. I think we need to focus. Energies maybe. Let him come and answer some of these questions. I think it's a legitimate concern to raise.
I think so too. I agree with you. Kwekwe Sama, good morning to you. And Nana Kumia.
Kwame. Openyi na uko.
Openyi she oko oni siren.
He's going to be productive.
Openyi oni siren.
Kwame sa SNIT asemi. Emotions no na minister ambeka emotions will treat you.
Atinka ni edeka no.
Atinka ani edeka. Kwame omemu ha state assets are government dear. The government dear say the people of Ghana yendia.
No mind, yeah.
Say ebani say a boy enka na yentimi and manage ya. Eya ye ton government shares we boa. Kwame Nkrumah factories pia o ye na ekodu baby na enko ye boy enka. See ya ton bi. Okay, Ambassador Hotel.
Today, Mervyn Peak.
Yenya independence. Yenya for 19. British for no AC at the chair.
Yeah.
As a legacy. Iconic. Minister Meka iconic with Trimo, but
Edimu.
Satam need Dimu. Ambassador Hotel. Edu baby now. Yen timi anhweso ye. Kwame de na ye.
Eton.
Government no eton shares. E many friend Mervyn Peak. Mami GD say enena ye ton ye. Faso kakra in terms of sika eba government nsem. And a Ghana for nsem. Okay, Continental Hotel.
Yeah.
And then
Lancaster.
A big goo yen.
Never go into
a big goo yen. A buying government of Ghana. Eton shares no ebu. Any Libya for Gako normal pair. Management team be golden tulip, and then Lancaster from Sababeto, your friend of Lancaster. Ninti American sign say, even the state of Ghana, say Juma people honor state no a womubi, na say Nkoya. The state of Ghana, the government of Ghana, eton shares nibi for new investment because. A binding nisika the beshim said be page Juman. And now say management no a buying yabi. Enti na waton shares nibi. Amobi. So that's the record. When you SNIT, the state of Ghana, the government of Ghana, over the years, both NPP, both NDC. But NDC going to turn more. Now hotels here SNIT that time. And as
in fact,
hotels are SNIT on beton. Kwame.
Nana.
There is no debate. Say a boss SNIT car. This is not some of sa statuses in a boa banker, Abanton, maybe. Sa ni me and was a boss SNIT car. Only La Palm hotel, what I won't cry. So far, SNIT are bought $50 million.
And Omunya free.
Omunya Capri, free. $50 million gone down the drain. So, Elmina Beach Hotel, Yenye in Elmina Beach Hotel.
You used to call Bejaya.
And I just say, you dreaming ye go for. Come so I call and say,
And you?
just you dreaming ye go for me, sin for. SNIT in this scam. Just some open investor. Because SNIT ain't just scanned bedri hotel ye go for me, sin for. And I would just go where I pono, just a pornographer hotel. Ultimate concord down. Yeah, the chair free, class concord down free. Ultimate down. Inti Bakube Busua.
Yeah.
Nake. In fact, one of the board members, Nancy Babotibe can say,
Former board member. Yeah.
Electricity. Salaries. Well, until a boss nitika. Na SNIT and Kasa. When your first time one, a juma on doing Haku shame, the workers, Sikaku shame. Ne juma no enku yesana, Obinya home fason. When your first time moment on my tonton. Yeah, this is where Bibia, Bibi Fufrobi. It's a Misha say free a buying government of Ghana and Kasa. On one Kasa ni come for the state. The whole chain on na Oriana in year. Oton. The government of Ghana itself. You know, I've given you some of them. Plenty be okra minyada jimbobo. SNIT in Sunu when your first time. Hotels in Sunu, there's no debate. Say a boss SNIT can. And a SNIT is a jumom de one shema a bomb can. When your first time mamato. Unim say, okay, trust bank.
Yeah.
Ne SNIT dia.
No, eventually, Omotoyo.
Ne bomb can. Omun sheda nya hon faso. Intende Eco Bank na to Trust Bank. When say Eco Bank 2017-2018, which has SNIT 40 million cedis
For Trust Bank.
from the shares. SNIT percentage now cut. That's what they got.
40 million cedis.
Yeah, 2017-2018. When SSB Bank, okay.
Yeah.
So just
and I send a SNIT so I'm saying SNIT, right?
SNIT there, SNIT with the majority shares. Then so then ko ye bomb ka. And SGS, Society General BBB. SGS, me boy.
SGSSB.
So say SGSSB, Society General.
I don't see new head office wall.
Ring Road.
Yeah. SNIT nya hon faswo from almost shares na akofom than when they had the majority shares. Okay, Merchant Bank.
Yes,
SNIT had the majority of shares. 2014, ne bomuka, no mutoma 40s. Yeah, Merchant Bank. And then no, a universal Merchant Bank. I'm a SNIT nyahu bibi. Okay, HFC Bank.
So
yeah.
No, wait a minute, I have a question. So about the chairman, when it was Universal Merchant, when it was Merchant Bank,
yeah.
When it was run by Sino Muboka, 40s for Mbeji, or more Ghana for. And Omuji Banzen, all of his it's become profitable.
But it's the same question. I didn't think Ghana government to Ambassador Hotel. I didn't think all of these companies.
Well, the reason is that when you mismanage them and they become unprofitable. And
you know, Abakosem wo ho say. Even the government of Ghana, so then who share they let it go. Now, mind you, 60% has SNIT their tone. They are not selling the whole 100%. Selling 60.
60, yeah.
Because someone needs a car on the beshame to revamp the business. Into invest a bit back, no better shares, no 60, no SNIT benyes kakakra dia choko, ne a car obo. Now if investor no so discover bane dia peja ejuma no. And now when you need the kind, now make sure banks from way back, Trust Bank, SSB Bank, SSB, the Social Security Bank, Merchant Bank, HFC cra, nothing they never majority shares. And Omo Tombi, and a Republic Bank, Omunya Home Faso. Inti Osha precedent. Even the government of Ghana, they won't train a Jumebimwa. They let's go some of the shares. So many examples. SNIT and Kasa, this is not the first time. Omo business is omo war, no omo car. They let go. Now I've given you about 4 or 5 banks. I know SNIT, Tonya, Neumunya Home Faso. Until there's a precedent. Well, Netosu Mienu, procedure. Acquire omo faso. Come we share procedure no. Me who problem be our procedure no. Started 2018, sa hotels yasem. Se obi be catch them say oh, acquire ye faso no ye chinchim ebinum sa ebinum ye de name bi siesie ebinum, then there's a problem. But so far maintain sir. And now share procedure no so SNIT actually na. A course according to the laws. Omo advertise both international advert and local adverts. Anakwamibwa.
Tanomo chain.
And they showed you the adverts in the economies, the adverts in the graphic and all of that from that period. Omu transaction advisor and also no competitive bidding.
Transaction by pulling an edge
yeah.
By pulling out.
Scan editorial transaction advisor. Yeah. Anyway, procedure.
Anyway, yeah.
Procedure no course na econo. Compare transaction advance no cry so a competitive bidding. Well, a year evaluation ni bibia. Sikanso omunya from a bidders no. A dog switch evaluation. The evaluation came to about 59 million. And omunya bear $61 million. To omunya home faso. Number 3. Nipa no winning bid.
Now they see from
Nipa no winning bid or your politician. Brian a champion of
of MPP.
Okay. But Oshe Yabako Semwa, SNIT properties and even national properties. Oma a tobin politicians pay account. Kwamukai Tamale a guest house, catering guest house.
Tamale catering guest house, yeah.
Politician being a Tomano.
Oh really?
It's not the case, a matter in court.
That about what?
Sir, ownership of sir property.
And there are politicians involved.
A politician and a businessman.
But that's what I'm talking.
Businessman is also
saying that a politician or person permanent. But that's the point is that Tamale guest house. There's a politician involved.
That's true.
There is?
Yes.
There is. Oh, he's a high profile politician.
High profile NDC politician.
Oh really?
Yes, it was sold to him. Sunyani catering guest house. It was sold to a top politician at that time. Cape Coast Hotel, Ridge Royal. Kwame, who are the minority shareholders? They are politicians, NDC politicians. I told my
where's you?
Yeah.
Oh,
but it didn't just check. Kumasi catering guest house. Politician. In fact, when Kumasi inquired Esri, that politician Tom Omotoma and that or no Toma Brian Achapo.
There be mintiase. Nipa Krono talk Kumasi catering rest house.
Or your politician.
From NDC.
Yes.
And now Otoma Brian Achapo.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that was wrong then.
No, me can't say it's wrong or I'm saying that there's a precedent.
We need to break this
well, no
laws.
Conflict of interest.
Say
always been there, dear.
And then you see a conflict of interest.
It's just a matter of conflict of interest. Then they did neighbor. It is a private individual be na Lebanese, Indian, Chinese be tanka se be anyhow.
Not necessarily.
Nana kumeri.
No Kwame. Na me can say.
Yeah.
Say neno. You see ma we a politician men to be a buying and a let's take that decision and move on. But otherwise, men could blame Brian Champo. And then they also blame the government. It's state capture. State capture. Just a man with a buy. But we should record now. A lot of public enterprises ama ye ton. And I want to ton sa one country.
31st December Women's Movement.
Into
I think I'm one so body na ultimate body anyway.
Share a lot of because I well, do subject matter.
Exactly, and yes, sir, it would divert the discussion.
I'll give you all the names. I'll give you the politicians who bought. The Cape Coast region. In fact, they are still the minority shareholders.
I see.
Those who bought Tamale Catering, Sunyani Catering, Kumasi
Catering rest houses.
Well, Brand bought some of them from the same politicians. Until who kind of politicians? There's a record. There's a precedent. But say no, you can't say SNIT in ton ne Japadia. The record shows that SNIT has sold a lot of his properties from banks, catering houses. 2, the record showed that many of them were bought by politicians. And now share those described procedure and put transparent to say last hotel CD. But say no ye can say and you're right, say politician beto bibia. I don't have a problem. Let's take that decision and move. But let's not politicize it. Say na branch need a politician on this suburban. And I say NPP, this versus state capture. Well, near any politics name free. Now, organized labor, say SNIT board and they take key decisions here better on hotels.
Yeah.
So called the board minutes from 2018. And normally I'm board here tissue. But the board here tissue, you don't take key decision no. Kwame, because 2018. That's our board there, Elizabeth Ohinedano. No, you no more your board, your SNIT board. The board in 2018, Omuni Hose say. Number 2, SNIT board, the workers have majority representation. I'm all 4 out of them say 8. And until time mo represent mo nam si for na what board no so I'm cause I'm I'm see my name. And they were part of the decision. In fact, the steering committee I set up to oversee sales. Members of the board were on the steering committee. More majority, or at least 50% of the board members. I mean, I'm talking of labor. And you were part of it way back 2018. You had at least 50% of the membership. But today, Kwame, no. Baby, yes, SNIT in tone Japadia. Let's take that decision. So, yes, my politician crying to be status. Let's take that decision and move. Let's not politicize it.
Nana Akumia, interesting conversations this morning. Atik Mohammed, Professor Kofi Ejekum, but the most important person out there is you. Thank you for listening.
One is with the 500 Ghana